You know, I think we've lost our way in business. We've let innovation become synonymous with cell phone or camera or BlackBerry, whatever the latest cool gadget is. And hey, I've got one of those. I like my gadgets, but innovation should be so much more. After all, it's through innovation that we've advanced as a human race from poverty to prosperity. And it's because of innovation that we can expect to live for 8 decades. Maybe you've heard we've got a little problem down here on planet Earth. 6 billion people, one finite planet. And the only way we're going to solve that, is through innovation. And yet our icon of innovation is the iPod, a portable jukebox. I think that's pathetic. We must reach higher. Before the last decade, there was one idea that shaped how corporations operated, one strategic doctrine. And that doctrine, in a nutshell, was if you're going to succeed in business, you got to carve out a strong position in an attractive industry and then defend it. The internet revolution plus some provocative new strategic thinking changed that. And now we know that innovation and strategy go hand in hand. For the last 8 years, my co-author and I have been deeply immersed in studying what we call the triple flip with a quadruple twist of general management. That's making innovation happen inside of established organizations. What I'm going to talk about today is what that innovation adventure is really like. The first thing we got to do is surface some of the models that people typically carry around in their heads about how innovation works, about how it happens. And there's one story that's more common than any other story. I call it the innovator versus the octopus. The protagonist in that story is always the brilliant, inspired visionary. And the antagonist, always the oversized, life-threatening bureaucracy. The hero is always the innovator, and the enemy is always the octopus. And of course, in our fantasies, the hero always wins. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. We need a better model. Organizations are not designed for innovation. Far from it. Organizations are designed for ongoing operations. They are designed for the things that you already do well, like serving your existing customers, like challenging your existing rivals, like being very, very efficient. In fact, I like to think of them as like Porsches rolling down the Autobahn. I think of them as performance machines. How does the machine get so efficient? It's very simple. It tries to make every activity as repeatable and as predictable as possible. Innovation is experimentation. And all experiments are, by definition, non-routine and uncertain. These are fundamental incompatibilities. My gosh, no wonder what I hear so often from innovation leaders is this mantra: break all the rules. Okay? The only way to succeed in this company as an innovator is to, quote, break all the rules. It's not entirely wrong. Okay? Because of these fundamental incompatibilities, we do have to break some rules. But break all the rules just doesn't work as an attitude, as a mantra. So the basic philosophy that I present to you today is this: an innovation team should be distinct from the performance machine, but it should be just as disciplined. Distinct, but disciplined. Not break all the rules, adopt different rules that are just as disciplined. I'll bet you've heard of this concept called zero-based budgeting. That means that last year's budget does not justify this year's budget. Well, you can think of this as zero-based organizational design. Again, building an innovation team should feel a lot like building a new company from scratch. About 10 years ago, when I first got into this research, I had a conversation with a CEO who, as it turns out, is one of the most thoughtful executives I've ever met on the topic of innovation. And this CEO said to me, he said, "You know, Chris, the limits to innovation have nothing to do with creativity. They have nothing to do with technology. They have everything to do with managerial sophistication." When I first heard that, I thought that was so dark. 10 years later, I look back and I say, he was right. And not only was he right, I can now look back on that and feel very optimistic. And it is with confidence and optimism that I say this, that it is through innovation that the private sector will solve the fundamental problem of our era. 6 billion people on a finite planet. So my wish for you is that you all may live the innovation adventure and experience the thrill of the breakthrough moment. But more than that, the satisfaction born of the sweat that turns ideas into reality. And that's what I've been working on for the last 10 years. And my work will be done when more companies can say, full potential achieved.